The world had pushed past its breaking point. Faith had been cast aside, and truth found itself silenced. Music, and when mankind dared to think it was God, the heavens themselves retaliated. Seals were shattered, trumpets blared, and judgment commenced. Music fire would plummet from the heavens. The sea would morph into blood, and the earth would finally acknowledge the might of the one who reigns for all eternity. Music heat. Music heat. Music, the earth had become something unrecognizable. The cities pulsed with artificial lights, doing little more than masking the darkness that festered in people's hearts. Wars devoured borders, and the streets resonated with cries of revolt and despair. Starving children wept while colossal screens showcased leaders being lauded by oblivious crowds. Music Man had erected his own throne, and the name of God was now nothing more than a punchline. Music temples crumbled into ruins, and nature, utterly spent, cried out for assistance. The sea overflowed with fury. The skies bled red at sunset, and the silence of creation felt like a grim omen. In town squares, charlatans peddled promises of a new world. The man is his own God, and the crowds roared in approval, convinced they had seized the power that had once belonged to the heavens. Pride reigned supreme, corruption was commonplace, and faith was a forgotten burden. Music, but high above the clouds, the sky observed. The firmament quivered in a golden light. Music at the heart of a sea of crystal and fire. God's throne radiated glory. Music, all around, countless angels stood in silent anticipation. Seraphim shielded their faces with their wings, and cherubim chanted a hymn so profound that time itself seemed to bend. Music in the midst of the heavenly host, the Lamb stood. His presence exuded both love and authority. A voice akin to the sound of 1,000 thunders echoed through infinity. A man has corrupted what was entrusted to him. The earth is in agony under the weight of its own wickedness. Michael, the prince of the heavenly hosts, knelt. Sir, shall judgment commence? From the throne came the response. The hour has arrived. The book shall be opened, and the truth shall be laid bare. The Lamb advanced through the throng of angels. In his hands he held the book sealed with 7 seals. The sky shimmered, and a reverent silence enveloped the heavens. Not a sound, not a flutter of wings, just pure expectation. Music, the first seal was broken, and a white light shot across the expanse. A white horse materialized, and its rider descended to earth bearing a crown and a bow, conquering through deceit. On earth, a charismatic figure was gaining traction, promising peace. Flags were unfurled, nations joined forces, and the people applauded the man who declared he had ended the war. But darkness lurked in his eyes. Finally, a new beginning, whispered a woman as a child clutched her hand. But her words were swept away like the wind. Soon, the second seal broke from the throne. A piercing sound reverberated. Music, another horse, the color of fire, raced across the skies. Peace has been banished from the earth, proclaimed an angelic voice. And men once again took up arms. Explosions illuminated the horizon. Nations that had embraced each other yesterday were now tearing each other apart. The ground trembled beneath the march of war. Miguel, observing from above, said with sorrow, "The blood of the innocent once again stains the earth of creation." An angel responded, "Justice is only beginning." The third seal was broken. A black horse emerged, carrying a set of scales. The angel declared, "A liter of wheat for a denarius, and do not harm the olive oil or the wine." On earth, commerce collapsed. Men squabbled over mere crumbs, and gold lost all its value. Hunger devoured both the wealthy and the impoverished. A mother wept over her son's lifeless body, clutching a stale piece of bread. "Where is God now?" she screamed in despair. The fourth seal opened. The pale horse galloped through the winds, and hell followed close behind. Where it passed, the sounds of life were extinguished. Cities became desolate wastelands, fields turned to ash. In the sky, the angels bowed, and Michael lowered his sword. The earth is emptying itself. Then the fifth seal was broken. Voices echoed from beneath the heavenly altar. The souls of those who had remained faithful cried out, "How long, O Lord, until you judge those who dwell on the earth?" And a voice responded, "Wait a little longer, until the number of those who will bear witness with their blood is complete." Music, the sixth seal was opened. An earthquake rocked the world. The sun turned black, and the moon bled red. Music, the stars plummeted like burning embers. Music, the powerful sought refuge in caves, crying out, "Hide us from the face of the one who sits on the throne." In the sky the Lamb looked down. His expression was serene, but his eyes glowed with sorrow and strength. Mercy was offered, rejected. Now the truth would arrive like a consuming fire. A profound silence fell over everything. The air stood still. Time itself paused. Even the angels were hushed. It was the moment before the trumpets would sound. The sky was preparing to speak once more. The sky fell silent. Millions of angels stood motionless before the throne, awaiting the command of the Most High. The divine light illuminated the sea of glass, and the sound of lightning echoed like a living breath. In the center, the Lamb lifted his gaze. His eyes mirrored compassion and power. Before him, 7 angels held golden trumpets, the likes of which had never been heard in creation. A voice like the roar of many waters boomed across the sky. "Sound the trumpets. Let the earth hear the sound of judgment." The first angel brought the trumpet to his lips. The sound reverberated through the worlds, and fire mixed with blood and hail rained down upon the planet. Forests went up in flames. Music, fields turned gray, and mountains smoldered. From above, Miguel watched in silence. An angel beside him inquired, "Why do men remain silent in the face of punishment?" "Because their pride towers above the heavens." On earth, flames consumed continents. The smoke obscured the sun. Dead birds littered the fields. Men screamed, clueless as to the origin of the fire. "What's happening?" But no one had an answer. The second angel played. A burning mountain, like a blazing comet, crashed into the ocean. The sea turned to blood, and colossal waves devoured coastal cities. Ships were torn apart, and fish floated like drifting ashes. Fishermen knelt, watching the red of the waters reflecting the fire from the sky. One of them whispered before collapsing to his knees in tears, "The sea is gone." In the sky, the third angel blew its trumpet. A flaming star streaked across the expanse, contaminating rivers and springs. Its name was Wormwood. The water turned bitter, and many people died of thirst. Music, the angels looked down with heavy hearts. One of them asked, "Is there still time for regret?" Love was offered, but greed was chosen. The earth shuddered. The fourth angel blew, and the stars lost a portion of their brilliance. The sun dimmed, the moon faded, and the stars seemed to extinguish completely. A deadly chill engulfed the planet. Night stretched on for an eternity for a third of the time. Despair festered like a shadow. Amidst the ruins, a lone prophet raised his voice. "The Lord still waits. Repent while you still have breath." But the crowd mocked. "Where is this God you speak of?" The prophet lowered his head, and a tear fell onto the dust. In the sky, an angel with a fiery face flew through the midst of the firmament, shouting in a voice of thunder, "Woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth because of the sounds that are yet to come." The fifth angel raised the trumpet. The sound shattered the silence, and the abyss yawned open. From the earth's depths, a black smoke billowed like an open wound. Daylight had vanished. Music, and from the darkness emerged grotesque creatures with iron wings and human faces, led by a fallen king. Abaddon, the angel of the abyss. His eyes were flames, and his voice was a roar. The gates will open, and nothing can stop them. The creatures swarmed over the cities, tormenting those who did not bear the seal of the Almighty. People ran, screaming, pleading for death. But death remained elusive. The air reeked of sulfur and despair. Amidst the chaos, a group sought refuge in a cave. A woman trembled as she held a child. Is this the end? No, it's the beginning of the end." The sixth angel blew the trumpet. Music, the waters of the great river dried up, and from it emerged four angels released from captivity. Their voices were like thunder. Behind them, fiery knights galloped, spreading destruction. Cities crumbled like sandcastles. The number of dead grew like dust in the wind in the sky. Michael watched in silence. 1/3 of mankind fell. Yet their hearts remain unyielding. Miguel closed his eyes and replied, "Judgment is not revenge. It is the harvest of what was sown." The smoke from the abyss began to dissipate. The creatures vanished into the shadows. The earth, shrouded in ashes, lay in silent mourning. Among the living, only the faint sound of the wind and the weight of guilt remained. In the sky, the seventh angel raised the trumpet, but he has not played it yet. The Lamb gazed upon the earth with sorrow and power. There's more. As the war is not confined to earth, it will reach the skies. Lightning streaked across the horizon, and the sound of wings filled the air. Music, the gates of the sky began to shift, revealing lights and shadows, preparing for the confrontation. The sky was growing ominous. The war was about to begin. In the sky, silence shattered like glass. Battle trumpets echoed through the eternal gates. The firmament was ablaze with light, and the heavenly army took its position. Thousands of angels formed golden ranks, their wings beating like storms of fire. Music at their head, Miguel brandished his flaming sword. The glow from his blade seemed to cut through time itself. "The enemy has risen," announced a cherub. In a deep voice, Miguel looked up and saw the horizon blur. From the depths of the stars, a colossal shadow was drawing near. Music, her eyes were eternal embers. Her roar was thunder and blasphemy. It was the dragon, the ancient adversary accompanied by his rebellious angels. The heavens quaked at his arrival. Music, "I will seize the throne, and the light will serve me. The light belongs to the one who is. Your downfall will be eternal." Music, the clash was immediate. Lightning tore through the sky. The sound of swords and thunder converged. Angels fell in flames, and the firmament twisted with lightning. The colors of the universe inverted. The dragon breathed fire from its 7 heads, spreading destruction. Miguel advanced, striking him with divine force. Each impact resonated throughout creation. From the throne, God observed in absolute silence. The Lamb stood by, calm, and spoke. "Music, the time for purification has arrived. Let the accuser be cast out." With one final strike, Miguel traversed the skies, and the dragon was hurled down to earth. His fall blazed through space like a shooting star. Music behind him, his hosts collapsed like a dark storm. Music, the sky erupted in song. But below, the earth shuddered with the impact. A flash lit up the horizon, and the sound of the impact echoed through mountains and seas. From the dust and ruins, the dragon rose in fury. "Music, the earth shall be my domain, and men shall be my servants." Music, for the first time, hell roamed freely upon the world. From the turbulent sea emerged a figure, a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. His body was a grotesque fusion of a leopard, a bear, and a lion. From his mouth spewed words of arrogance and power. Music, crowds gazed upon him and bowed. Who is like the beast? Who can stand against it? The beast proclaimed peace, but his voice dripped with deceit, his gaze with domination. The nations united under his command, and his image was erected in the temples. In one of the squares, an elderly man whispered, "What they swore was freedom has become servitude." He was dragged away by soldiers accused of blasphemy. Then another creature appeared, the beast of the earth. It resembled a human, but its eyes were vacant. 2 short horns like those of a lamb and the voice of a dragon. She performed miracles before the people, summoned fire from the sky, and compelled everyone to worship the image of the first beast. Music, receive the seal and live, refuse and perish. The number was declared 666. In the streets, massive queues formed in front of temples erected in honor of the beast's image. Men and women extended their hands and received the mark. Those who resisted were persecuted, banished, killed. Amidst the shadows, small groups of believers hid, praying in hushed tones. A woman cradled her son, saying, "Do not fear. The light still shines, even when the world is night." In the sky, Miguel watched as the earth plunged into idolatry. A cherub approached and asked, "Lord of hosts, why does the Most High permit such suffering? Judgment must be fulfilled so that evil can be eradicated." The throne remained bathed in light. The Lamb observed in silence. Around them, angels guarded the incense altar, and from there rose the fragrance of prayers from those who remained faithful on earth. The dragon gazed upon the people's adoration and smirked. "The world is mine." But a voice like thunder replied, coming from far beyond the clouds, "Only for a while." The voice echoed like both a promise and a warning. The winds stilled. The stars shimmered for a moment, as if the universe itself awaited the unfolding of the prophecy. The Lamb's gaze shifted to the 7 angels standing before the throne. "Go, for it is time to pour out the bowls of wrath upon the earth." The music of the firmament shifted. The sky was preparing once again. The earth, now consumed by idolatry, waited unaware that the fire had not yet begun to fall. The sky darkened momentarily, and the sound of the winds ceased. The throne shone amidst the gloom, and 7 angels stepped forward before God, each holding a golden cup. The sea of crystal reflected living flames. Lightning crisscrossed the firmament like rivers of light. The Lamb stood there, serene, but his eyes reflected the weight of judgment. "The hour has come. Pour out upon the earth the cup of my wrath." The first angel flew, pouring his cup over the men marked with the seal of the beast. Burning sores erupted on their skin, and their cries echoed in despair. The sound of pain ascended to the heavens like a lament. "Why have you forsaken us, O God of the beast?" But the idol remained silent. The second angel poured out his bowl upon the sea. Music! The waters turned to blood, like that of the dead, and the stench of decay filled the winds. Fish and whales floated lifelessly, and the entire ocean became a graveyard. On land, fishermen stared at the crimson horizon, weeping over the death of what had once sustained life. The third angel poured out his bowl over the rivers and springs. Music, the fresh waters turned into poison. Music, an angel raised his voice in heaven. "Righteous are you, O Holy One, for you judge fairly." They shed the blood of saints and were given blood to drink. Music, the fourth angel moved forward. Music, as he emptied his cup, the sun caught fire. The light intensified into flames. Men sought refuge in the shadows, screaming, but the heat pierced through stone and walls. The earth burned, and the skies seemed to weep light. Even so, the survivors cursed God. The fifth angel poured out his bowl upon the throne of the beast. Music darkness enveloped their kingdom, and the gloom was as thick as living smoke. Music, the men bit their tongues in pain but did not repent in the heart of the main city. The dragon roared before its fallen creation. "I will fight until my last breath." In the sky, Michael raised his flaming sword. "Lord, the darkness challenges your name once again." And from the throne came the response, "Gather the troops. The time of the final battle has come." The sixth angel poured his bowl over the great river Euphrates. Music, its waters vanished, clearing the path for the kings of the east. Music, the world was bracing for war. Demonic spirits, like frogs, emerged from the mouth of the dragon and the beast, gathering the armies of the earth. Flags were raised, weapons aimed at the sky, and crowds marched as if they could defeat the invisible. They will come to fight against the Most High, and they will witness that not even hell can withstand the truth. The seventh angel raised the final cup. The sky shimmered as if the entire universe exhaled in unison. It is done. Lightning flashed across the skies. Thunder rocked the mountains. An earthquake shook the earth from one end to the other. Amidst the destruction, the armies of the earth converged in a vast and desolate valley. The darkened sky quaked, and a different wind began to stir. A light materialized above, growing like a living dawn. The sound of an invisible army echoed among the clouds. Then the heavens split open. Music, the Lamb appeared, riding a white horse, his garments stained with blood and a golden crown upon his head. Behind him, millions of angels rode horses of light. His presence set the heavens ablaze. The sword that issued from the Lamb's mouth descended like lightning. The army of the earth was consumed. The beast and the false prophet were seized and cast alive into the lake of fire. Music, the dragon, fled into the shadows, spewing blasphemies. But he was chained by Michael and hurled into the abyss. A seal of light shut the darkness in upon him. The sound of the firmament shifted. The sky and the earth stilled. The war was over. The fire ceased. The clouds parted, revealing a gentle brightness. From the ravaged land, a new wind began to blow. The ashes floated like seeds. Silence descended, and the golden glow suffused the horizon. Miguel knelt before the throne. It is finished, Lord. The trial was complete, but what is eternal remains. The world lay in ruins, but the sky was preparing something new. The sound of the winds ceased. The fire went out. From the smoke of the ruins, silence rose over the earth. The sky, once veiled in darkness, slowly began to open, revealing a pure, gentle, and infinite light. The sea no longer roared. The mountains were leveled, and the cities, now gray, lay under the weight of eternity. It was the day after the end. On the horizon, the firmament shone white. A colossal throne appeared in the middle of the light. It was the white throne where there was no shadow, only justice. From above, God himself appeared in unreachable glory. Rays of purity emanated from him, and all of creation bowed. Before the throne, the books were opened. The records of human history, the echoes of every choice. Millions of souls gathered, coming from all times. Kings and slaves, wise men and children, the just and the ungodly. They were all there. The angels circled around the space in reverence, and the Lamb, resplendent, stood at the right hand of the throne. Music, a voice like the sound of many waters, echoed. Time's up. Justice is served. On the left side, the abyss yawned open, black and silent. The chained dragon was brought before the throne. His body burned like glowing coals, and his voice was now weak and distorted. I can still corrupt. I can still deceive. But the divine voice cut him off. Not anymore. And an intense light enveloped him. The chains tightened around him like liquid fire. It is finished. The dragon was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone where the beast and the false prophet already resided. The flames rose like walls, and the echo of their fall was lost in infinity. Then, the souls were summoned before the throne. Angels flipped through the books, and the heavens resonated with the sound of the eternal pages. An angel announced, "Whoever is written in the book of life will last forever." Lights began to shimmer in the midst of the crowd. They were the redeemed. Their white garments, as bright as snow, shone like gold in the reflection of the throne. They knelt, and the Lamb gazed upon them tenderly. I knew them before the world existed, and today they will live with me for all eternity. Tears were wiped away. The voices that had once cried out now sang songs of victory. The heavens resonated in perfect harmony. The firmament began to transform. The flames yielded to light. From the devastated land, crystal-clear rivers emerged. Flowers began to bloom again. The mountains rose again, and the sea became as clear as glass. The air carried the scent of eternity. From above, a city began to descend. The New Jerusalem. Its walls were of jasper, its gates of pearl, and its streets of pure gold. The glory of God illuminated it, and the Lamb was its light. No sun, no moon, only the eternal brilliance of the divine presence. The redeemed nations entered through the open gates. Music children raced through the radiant squares. Rivers flowed between gardens of life, and fruit trees bore fruit in every season. There was no death, no pain, no tears. The sound of laughter replaced the cries of suffering. Miguel walked through the city gates and paused before the river of life. Music. Its waters shimmered like diamonds. Everything has been restored. Yes, evil was vanquished, and love triumphed. Forever. In the city center, the throne of God remained, and beside it, the Lamb smiled. The light emanating from him filled all of creation. Voices stilled for a moment, and even heaven itself seemed to breathe in peace. Then, the Lamb spoke one last time in a gentle voice that made the universe tremble. Music. Behold, I make all things new. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To anyone who thirsts, I will freely give from the fountain of the water of life. The words reverberated beyond time. The stars rekindled. Space transformed into music and color. The crystal sea now reflected a new dawn. And when the last sound faded, only the light remained. A light that did not blind, but healed. The sky and the earth became one. Love rained down and time ceased to exist. Music.